This is the 21.5 Show.
You're on 121.5, the emergency frequency.
Whether you're a professional pilot or want to be one, you're in the right place.
Let's get started.
Join professional aviators Dylan and Max as they talk their experience in the airlines, business aviation, and more.
Life is good.
Industry experts, unique stories, and plenty of fun. This is the 21.5 Show.
Here we go.
We're back. Another action-packed episode of the 21.5 podcast.
So much to get to, Max. I don't even know where to begin, but I guess the best place to start is with ground reference maneuvers.
Are you sure?
On,
Okay. I thought you were going to start
episode.
with the exciting history of airline reservation technology, but I guess we'll get to that later in the show.
We'll get there. No, we got to start. We got to start
What are you
with
talking
ground
about?
reference maneuvers, like we do every episode.
What are you talking about? What sort of ground reference maneuvers?
Well, okay. I guess we should introduce ourselves really first. Hello, my name's Dylan, corporate pilot, co-host 21.5. Thanks for tuning in.
I'm Max. I'm fly at the airlines and fly corporate too.
Okay.
Also
And
the host.
roles reversed. I'm in the hotel for once. You're
Yes.
running the main controller. I like
Literally just walked in the door from a 3-day trip, and now I'm here with you. Couldn't be more thrilled.
it. Welcome.
My wife is outside at the pool with a cocktail, and I'm here,
And you're here.
video chatting with you. It's
Right
terrific.
where you need to be. Hello, hello, hello. All right, well then let's jump right into it. So yeah, it was funny. I can't remember if we had talked about this on the show before, but I recently started flying a Cessna 150, 100 horsepower Cessna 150. Took it out for the first time, and I had to do some ground reference
100
maneuvers
ponies,
on the
huh?
checkout, and yeah, 100 ponies. This is great.
Was that
like if
scary?
you-
Like taking off and just
Yeah.
having no performance?
It's like when I calculate the horsepower per pound of myself, that's not a good ratio when you're like this thing. Yeah,
What does the thing climb at?
a few hundred feet a minute, several hundred. It's good.
Go ahead.
It was
Go
good.
ahead.
Anyway, so we had to do the checkout. And for the most part, I was pretty happy with I hadn't done like a lot of those maneuvers in a really long time. And then they're like, all right, why don't we do a turn around a point? And I was like, I just did a 360. I was like,
You did a steep turn and called that
I
a
was
turnaround
like,
point?
yeah.
The winds were
it's-
calm.
Yeah, right, exactly. I was like, kind of just went in there, and I'm like, I
Was
know
it
I'm
windy?
supposed to be saying stuff. Not bad, but I was like, I know I need to be like,
You're not supposed to say anything. You weren't doing a CFI checkout, were you?
tight. Let's see, higher ground speed, more bank angle. All that. All the things you're supposed to be doing.
Get out of here.
Good God, I think I did a standard rate 360 turn, and I was like, all right, well, I did it. Didn't you say you were doing some maneuvers recently too?
Yeah, well, yeah, I just wanted to go flying, and I just went by myself one morning.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, I'm like, screw it. So I went up. I'm like, I'm going to do some. I try like at least once a year to go out and do like a bona fide training flight.
Yeah. Good for you.
And just stuff you don't do, And so I went out. I flew around and did slow flight and stalls and steep turns, and then I tried. I like consciously tried to surprise myself and pull the motor,
Oh.
like
How is
just
that
when
even
I
possible?
wasn't gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna pull, I just like pulled it, and then I looked around and I'm like, huh, this is kind of a doozy. Like if you're, I was
I see. So
basically
you were-
between the Big Wash and Rio
Got
Verde
it.
and Bartlett Lake Road, like it's all mountains.
Okay.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I didn't have a lot of. And I look around, I'm like, this is a good one. And so I had to land on this this road that has like two straight sections that goes to this lake out kind of where we live, and it's really windy except for two sections, right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, I flew over there and did a power off, emergency approach to landing, and I mean I didn't land, obviously I went around, but it was good. And then my wife, this is the best. I don't know if I told you this. So my wife was playing at Desert Mountain, which is like a private club at this, this insurance, golf tournament. She so I came and I looked up like her location on my phone, figured out what hole she was on, and then I came and buzzed her where she was at with the hopes of just embarrassing her, So
Did it work?
Yeah, it worked pretty good.
That's awesome. What is that?
Yeah. That was it. But it was good. It's good to do a little training, you know?
It really
I did like
is.
the first steep turn. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't done this in a minute. I was kind of,
Yeah.
wasn't real impressed with myself. And then
I had to pick I remember there being like a line of rivets on the cowling for the steep turn. You kind of put the horizon on and do it, you know. It was funny too. In the 100 horsepower 150, I entered the steep turn and I asked the instructor, I'm like, now what power setting? And she's like, no, you got to give it everything. It's full.
the same as takeoff.
Yeah, exactly. There's like 2 settings in there. It's like,
Unless you want to go down.
yeah,
the
right.
throttle
It's
full.
everything you need. So anyways, it was good times.
Did
Man,
you do
we've got-
clearing turns?
Did clearing turns, cleared the engine every 1,000 feet on the emergency
Yeah, I did that.
descent.
That freaks me out.
High key, low key identification.
Look at you.
Everything. So one of these days, I'm going to figure out how to land this
This could be
thing.
Prescott circa early 2000s right now.
Exactly. Yeah. But
Anyway.
but then again, of course, the main thing is like, I'll tell you the one thing. Like, it's nice to fly a jet with performance and all that other stuff, but TCAS. Oh, that's really.
Oh, does that thing not have a? Well, you had traffic display, right?
It's like on an iPad, but it's not like mounted and like up there all the time. And it's like, so I gotta figure out my traffic situational awareness. But it's just nice to have TCAS there, you know.
Yeah. Well, dude, are you kidding me? Things are so much better now than they were. Like, I don't even know how people did, especially in this environment around here. It's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
That's what I have. Like my whole different setups for like I don't know, you know, in the 280, there's memories, and you can go for like taxi and then takeoff, and it configures all the screens with different whatever you want up. And it's funny, I have it like it doesn't have memories in my plane, but I have everything configured for like certain things. And like on takeoff, like one whole screen is all engine stuff, and then I split the PFD between the PFD and just the traffic display, just black circle with traffic everywhere, because it's just so crazy. I'm like, I can't imagine doing this anymore without that.
Yeah, it just freaks me out. It's the one thing that they're just everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, good. All right. Well, now we've established our credibility as piston pilots.
Yes.
We're back.
I'm sure everyone's enthralled with our general aviation adventures.
My favorite was when I asked the
pilot
instructor
maneuvers.
where the rudder trim was. She just looked at me like,
Did you really? She said, yeah, after we land, there's a little tab on the back of the tail. You just grab it and
yeah, right.
bend it.
Does this airplane have rudder trim? She said, yes, it's your right foot, you moron.
Were you asked?
Obviously, I was joking, but it's kind of funny. All right, we have 2 things that we need to get to, and I'm going to let you pick which one we're going to start off. We've got to do a quick luggage review recap, since those videos are now live, and then also we've got book club chapter 3 to get to. So where do you want to start?
Let's get the luggage review out of the way.
Okay. Sounds good. So if folks don't know, those reviews were launched last week on the 14th.
As promised.
As promised, we did it.
This time.
Khaleesi banged together all those videos for us. They turned out really good, really great. I'm really happy with the way they turned out. Lots of folks, tons of views already, and what I was really surprised and what I was hoping for was a ton of comments from
I'm really
the viewers.
surprised. Has anybody commented on my naked feet in the
No,
videos
I
at
thought
all?
more people were going to give you a hard time for your bare feet. But
I'm hoping that one just kind of goes by the wayside.
yeah, exactly. Good thing you didn't bring it up. So yeah, tons of great comments. And like we said before, to talk about it on a podcast is okay, but it's like so much better to just see it in video.
Yeah, we're not gonna get deep into it. If you want to
Exactly.
get deep, watch the video. That's the whole point. But
links in the show
cool.
notes.
I mean, I don't know. I hope it's helpful. I think it's.
Yeah.
I think we brought up some good points. Testing it is much different than just looking at the bag, even in person.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
That was
exactly.
good.
So
some real surprises in there.
Absolutely. So tune in, check those out, and more to come. I already know some of the next bags we're going to be trying to review next. You want me to read you a few of the comments from folks?
Please.
Anything
Indulge
interesting?
me.
One kind of for the strong bags. Your bag says, I've had the Vortex for a long time, 135 and 121, and I've been told that my strong bag is the Nissan Altima of crew bags. Knowing Dylan and Max agree with me that it's a phenomenal bag brings me a tremendous amount of satisfaction. My key complaints are it's still a heavy bag, and when it's very full, it can be a hassle fitting it in some regional jet overheads. I got a Briggs & Riley for Christmas and have used it only a handful of times before I went back to my strong bag. Okay, so kind of enjoys it. I mean, yeah, it's a heavier bag because it's still metal frame, but very solid.
I feel like the strong bag kind of matches an airline job.
Yeah.
It's not glamorous.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of benefits.
Exactly. I was surprised that the majority of the comments all came from the Briggs & Riley bag. Almost all of them were that.
God.
Very few. I thought more people were going to have...
Your carrying of the torch has been vindicated, huh? Good for you.
Sort of. Okay, so here's an interesting one on the Briggs bag. It says, gentlemen, not only does this slapping video bang, but it's also informative. And this is thoughts from a 91/135 pilot. I have the 4-wheel version, and it was a gift to myself when I got my first type rating last year, Career 2.0. I figure I can easily go 7 days in it, including carrying the awesome cool Spyfire jacket in the front pocket, and I'm good to go pretty much anywhere on any conditions. The warranty was a big one for me, and I think of it as a buy once, cry once proposition. One other thing, thanks for showing me how to use the shirt hanger. I'm going to start doing that. Keep it up, you guys rock. And Max, it's Briggs & Riley, not Briggs & Stratton. That's a lawnmower.
Did I say that?
Apparently you said Briggs & Stratton somewhere in the video. We missed that.
I hope I did.
Makes a great
That's
motor.
funny.
I mean, you know.
Listen. Somebody else I saw a comment on there about their co-pilot that got his 4-wheel bag and then watched it blow away down the ramp at Teterboro.
Yes. That was our friend Jordan.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Have seen that happen.
That's a real thing. That is an actual concern.
Happened to me recently with some passenger bags that we unloaded on a windy day, and they blew along the ramp. I had to chase them off and tackle them. It was kind of a pain in the butt. So yeah, that is it. That is it. Okay, another comment says on the Briggs, this bag seems to be a competitor to the Travel Pro Flight Crew 522. That bag has up to 56 liters of capacity, a solid J-hook, and all the other features this one has, including a soft exterior. Plus, it has nicer wheels. I've packed for a 13-day trip in this bag. Should I be bragging about a 13-day trip? They wonder. That Briggs repair policy is nice, but Travel Pro has the exact same thing. You can buy the Travel Pro for $179. I was expecting to see some giant Breitling pilot watches on both wrists because this Briggs bag is the equivalent of that. Spend more money for something that is the cool brand. I'm perfectly happy with my, quote, flight attendant bag that works awesome and is made for our industry. Yeah. So I think clearly the Travel Pro is next for us to test. Clearly. Overwhelmingly, we got a lot of comments on the Travel Pro. So we're working with them to try and get some bags to test right now. Here's one last interesting comment. So another person said they've been using the Briggs bag for a while, and remember we said the wheels were bad? They said they swapped them out for some skate wheels, and I was like, oh. And I went on Amazon, ordered some rollerblade wheels, and just popped them in my bag. Now it makes the bag a million times. But yeah, it was $9 for the new wheels. So
look at you into bag modification. What's next in your mod
heavily
list?
Modified. So thank you for
doing
the
a bag
listener
build?
who wrote in about that. Yeah. So yeah. So lots of comments there, and then we did get a comment on the Paradox bag as well, and they mentioned that if you use that space saver that compresses stuff down, you can get a lot more in that bag. So that definitely seems like the common thread with the hard-sided bag. You got to use some type of space saver to be able to maximize it, but makes you more efficient. So. Great comments from everybody that wrote in. We appreciate it, and glad the videos are helpful. And so, yeah, shoot us an email if you've got a bag that you want us to review. This will probably be an ongoing series for a while. Definitely going to do the Travel Pros next, and any other ones that you want us to see. And, yeah, Max will wear shoes for the next review.
Don't count on it.
Possibly.
Summertime.
Yeah, we'll see. Oh, maybe we'll do it poolside under your new cabana.
Yeah, that's good. We'll just do different locations at my house. It'll be perfect.
Yeah, right. Every time. Coming to you from the garage. Great. Okay. Links in the show notes for all the luggage reviews. Let's take a time out from our conversation to talk about another friend of ours, Timothy P. Pope, who's a certified financial planner dedicated to guiding professional pilots through smart financial planning. Whether it's saving for retirement, investment management, a seamless military transition, or strategic tax planning, Tim is your trusted financial partner. Join Tim as he leads engaging discussions on personal finance strategies for professional pilots on the Pilot Money Podcast. Timothy P. Pope, helping professional pilots make the most out of life. All right, Max.
All right.
Book club time, chapter 3. I have a lot of thoughts on this one.
Go ahead then.
Okay. So quickly to summarize chapter 3, honestly, the biggest takeaway for me was this was the dawn of the computer age, right? And it's talking a lot about the reservation systems, and it's insane how it starts off talking about how they were doing reservations, where it was like this ledger that they would like pass around, like one master list.
Oh my God, dude!
Reservations.
Could you imagine? And then they had chalkboards, and there's somebody like updating here's the best thing. This is the best. Then American came up with this revolutionary new system where they had tubes of marbles, and every time. They would make a reservation, it would drop a marble out the bottom of the tube. So all the reservation agents could look at this flight and see the amount of marbles in the tube was how many seats were available. And then if somebody canceled, it would drop another marble in from the top.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a human doing that. That was the mechanical.
It sounds like a dream job for my 10-year-old.
Could you? God, we've got
just
to find
being
a
the
picture
marble
of this
kid.
thing. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I Google image searched this one for a while trying to find a picture of this.
You
And
did?
I couldn't find anything. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I have yet to see a photo
I
of
read
it.
that.
So
I
if
was
you,
like, oh my gosh.
it was unbelievable to imagine this. And so yeah, they kind of start off talking about the history of it, and an interesting comment there was like, you know, for a lot of things, the more you do, you get economies of scale and advantages. And they're like, reservations is the exact opposite. The more reservations you do, the worse it gets.
Worse it gets, right? And it was really interesting, too, how back in the day, before any sort of computerized reservations, how most tickets were sold from a travel agency. And so they had to, like, call the said reservation center with the ledger. And then they would have to like type out your ticket and then mail, and then they would mail the money into a clearinghouse who would then mail it to the. It's just crazy. Like, I mean, how insane is that? That now you just go on your phone and like make a reservation 2 seconds anywhere. It's just
Okay, so essentially, this chapter goes in talks a lot about Bob Crandall, who was a very famous airline executive and was at American Airlines and. Originally worked at Kodak and was kind of in the first sort of like enterprise computers, and then kind of brought that computer technology, and then they developed the infamous Sabre system, which you and I both used to use, where you like we would
change,
it looked like MS
Dex.
DOS. It
what was
like
it?
MS
It was
DOS.
Dex, and then what was the res?
Dex
and
Res,
Dex,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, and you'd be like typing it in. It looked like MS DOS, and you just be like, "Whoa!"
Yeah,
you have
it was
to know
all
the command.
text based.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. We used to have to do that to check our HT. What was it? I don't even remember the commands. You'd have to HI3 to. I don't remember.
Your HI4. Oh my God, I forgot about.
Yeah, you had to
I remember
type
you
in all
used to
these
have
different
to
things.
change Dex. You had to change it to Dex. Then you have to like somehow log in, and then the like HI4 enter and like it was
sign in. Wow. It was unbelievable. This old
and then
system
send it to the dot matrix printer.
Yep. But you could see like, okay, so American had their system. They were kind of the first to come out with Sabre. They spent a ton of money on it. And then United had their system called Apollo. But this is what really struck me.
TWA was still had their pants around their ankles trying to figure out what was going on.
Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, so this is what struck me. And then the last thing I should say, and then how we mentioned like they came out with this computer system, and then Crandall's like, oh, don't worry, no reservations agents will lose their job due to this system, because he knew it was a super high turnover job and people would just quit all the time, and then they would not need these people anymore. This is what struck me. This is what's coming with AI. Again, this is a very timely reminder of this computer race. And then once a competitor gets that, everyone that doesn't adopt it is smoked. And that's exactly what happened to TWA and the other airlines that didn't get the computer systems. And this is exactly what's going to happen in the next wave. And we don't know exactly when that is and what it's going to look like, but it's clearly, to me, the lowest hanging fruit in the airline business. this adoption of increasing efficiency, increasing analytics, increasing and decreasing headcount. Because the problem with airlines is there's a lot of laws of physics that just can't be optimized beyond where you're at.
It's a big puzzle when you look at the schedule, and crews have to be here, and flight attendants and pilots and aircraft and the whole thing, right? And when that gets messed up, untangling that, when they get AI to figure out how to do that, because there's already automation and computers that do that. I mean, there's SkySolver, which is a GE product that attempts to do this, and it's the solutions could be improved on.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, you can't. There's no like huge transformational change in like turning airplanes faster or like making the engine burn less. Like there's no like massive change. It's all incremental stuff, right? Yeah. The transformational change is all coming on the back end, and that's where it'll be really interesting. Yeah,
and I think it's all going to be dealing with the dynamic changes in real time. Whether as soon as an airplane goes down, okay, where do we fill this spot with what airplane and how do we do this and yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, and to me, that was the takeaway. It's gonna be history repeating itself. Of TWA, no, we're gonna stick with the ledger and the chalkboard. We're good, and
It's interesting. There's so many ways I've thought about that since we did that episode. So I just was involved in like a 5-way vacation trade, right? So like somebody trades for some, and I've put in the legwork to organize these before, and someone just came to me and they're like, oh, do you want to change your October week for July? And I was like, over my birthday. I was like, yes,
think about that,
please. Yeah. But just think about all the like manual legwork, the sorting, and you literally have to get a whiteboard out and like say, okay, I'll trim. This guy trades with this person to get this to there to get to your 5th way down, right? And like that could be figured out in 2 seconds with AI.
Well, just think about it. I mean, you're going to have basically. I mean, you sort of
sorting
have
all the lines. It's just like
all of that. Think about but think about it on a more personal level. Right now, you have your own assistant who does a lot of trip trading and monitoring for you right now. Yeah. And soon you're just going to have an app, right? That you're going to be like, listen, here are the days I need to work, and these are the days I need off, and you need to monitor all my trade.
I don't think that's not going to be good for me, because I think right now I have the advantage.
You're going to lose an advantage. You are, seriously. But there's going to be those optimizers. But think about, there'll be changes. But I mean, that's coming. It'll be there. Anyways, we have an email that talks a little bit more about this. So we'll save some of that discussion. But anyways, that was my big takeaway from the chapter. It was a great chapter, I thought. But what did you think? It really was.
I mean, that's obviously transformed the business. Bringing in computers to a paper system with an airline. Like you couldn't even imagine running a charter certificate, let alone an airline nowadays. So especially with the size they're at. So it was really interesting to see. And it was interesting to see where Bob Crandall his story, how he ended up there and stuff, because he's obviously a pretty iconic figure in airline history. What else?
And, I mean, to me, it's just the other thing that stood out, back then you had to innovate, right? They had to have very charismatic leaders that were out there and like going to war, because it's a cutthroat business. And and it was like you had this Crandall who was like very cutthroat but very smart, and then they were talking about the guy at United that was like a real people person, because they had to come in and heal all these labor relations, and he was in the back of the airplane and like helping flight attendants to do it. So very interesting.
It was a different battle, because it's a war when you can't change the price of the ticket.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. It's like your hands are tied. So they're offering steaks and trying to focus on food and like all this. And then it's so funny because nowadays price is obviously way out ahead of almost everything else in factors that matter. And then obviously the rest does too. But price is, since deregulation, has always been way out in front.
Yeah. But I mean, sort of, that's why, again, I think the optimizing and efficiency and reducing headcount and all those other things will be the thing, because even now everybody matches on price. It's funny because the price is the same pretty much on the popular routes.
Right.
So it's it's increasing your margin on that price. But anyways, great chapter, chapter 3. Love to hear all the folks that are involved. Did you see? So I just posted a picture today. One of our listeners sent a picture of the book with a beer.
Yeah, that was good.
I was like, oh, this is perfect. That's the way you should consume this. And he did it right. He got the paperback. It's like we said, you get street cred if you're in the terminal reading that book. People see it. Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just like
Big
if you have your
thumbs
21.5 stickers on your bag.
That's right. That's right. Anything else you want to talk about for chapter 3?
I don't think so. I think that's
Good.
it. It's not too late to catch up if you haven't ordered the book.
That's right. I mean, you said you read it today, right? A couple legs.
Mm-hmm.
Just knock that out.
Yeah.
Who knows? Love it. All right. That's about it. Should we move on to the reviews?
I guess.
I tried to get AI to pull the reviews for me today. It didn't work.
We're not there yet.
No. So maybe they can't do airline reservations yet. We're getting there. You want to do the
All
first one?
right. Sure. This is from Snarky. Oh, no, it's not. The title of the review is Snarky. Sorry. Great show. It's refreshing to listen to a pilot's podcast with actual line pilots. As a 62-year-old Spirit captain, I enjoy the gallows humor of the furlough flute. Don't we all? From O'Day 26.
We are snarky. Glad that's a good thing. Dingo Pilot 87 says this podcast absolutely slaps. I'm a military rotor wing and fixed wing pilot on the slow train to the airlines. This podcast is the perfect mix of entertainment and education to get an insight of the industry. Huge fan of Straight Talk and the Roger Reeves series. James O'Neill always provides great perspectives. Keep up the great work and thanks for the motivation to continue pursuing the dream. Hoping this dog catches the bus soon. All right, careful what you wish for.
Mm-hmm.
All right. If you would like to have your review read, shoot us a review on Apple Podcasts and then shoot us an email and give us your mailing address, and I'll be happy to send out some stickers as a thank you to anyone that writes a review. Oh, and speaking of stickers, Max, I have some exciting news. A friend of the show, Mary, at Bradley Mac, they manage a C-47. Which is doing the the flight over from the U.S. to Normandy for the memorial.
Oh, really?
And
I got
gave
us
her
invites to go with?
Yeah, well, sort of.
Oh.
She invited a bunch of our stickers to come along, so I gave her a huge bundle of our stickers. They'll be handing out at all their stops.
Sweet.
On the way, they're landing in Greenland and Iceland and doing the whole like blue spruce routes to get these C-47s over to Normandy, and then they'll be over in Europe flying around for a while. So if you happen to see any flying in formation, go get some 21.5 swag that's in the back. Hopefully.
Awesome.
Yeah. So shout out to Mary. That's pretty cool.
Thanks, Mary.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to do it for the reviews. Next up, the mailbag. Of course, brought to you by our friends at Advanced Aircrew Academy. Aircrewacademy.com hosts their blog, which we always enjoy reading. They keep us up to date on what is happening. I'm sure, Max, you have seen this new SMS mandate has come out.
Oh, yes.
I don't know how locked in you've been on this, but their blog post sure got me
I'm in
up
the
to
denial
speed.
phase.
Yeah, it's you're on your way. That's
I
good.
just got all these LOAs done.
Yeah, one step at a time.
I know I can't. It's a lot.
You'll get there. We'll check out their blog post at aircrewacademy.com to get yourself up to speed. But this new rule is going to affect 1,850 Part 135 operators, 695 tour operators, and 65 Part 21 production certificate holders. So, and don't forget about the 715 Part 91 holders approved to conduct air tours. So, could that be you? Maybe. Read the blog post to get all the information on the SMS update. Thanks to Advanced Aircrew Academy for their longtime sponsorship. On to the mailbag. Go ahead with the first.
Good evening, Dylan and Max. Rob from Flight Advice, episode 74, here to give you an update. When I met you all at Happy Hour in Scottsdale on September 13th of 2022, I was at a military course in Arizona, dreading going back to my civilian job as a federal law enforcement officer in D.C. I told you that it was my dream to fly for Southwest Airlines. You all recommended I talk to Vicky for career coaching and interview prep. At the time, Southwest hiring minimums were strict 1,000 hours of turbine time. I had several thousand hours of turbine and a few hours, 1,000 hours of turbine airline, he says. So 121? I thought it was just 1,000 turbine PIC, but I had several thousand hours of turbine and a few thousand hours of airplane, but a mere 700 hours of turbine airplane time. That's what he meant. 1,000 hours of
turbine airplane.
Of turbine airplane time in my logbook. A few months later, I applied for, interviewed for, and accepted a job at Spirit Airlines. On the day I passed my A320 oral exam at Spirit, Southwest dropped their hire minimums to 500 hours turbine airplane. So I reapplied. With Vicky's interview prep about a year later, so February of 2024, I started at Southwest. Apparently just in the nick of time, too, between Southwest hiring freeze and Spirit's furlough announcement. That's a good move.
Wow.
Last Thursday, I passed my 737 type ride here in Dallas, and I couldn't be happier. This is such a great place to work. Over the last 2 months, I spent many afternoons listening to the 21.5 podcast in the lead center. As it turns out, my sim partner, Elijah Smith, is also a huge fan. Looking forward to one day flying as Max's FO after he upgrades. All right. People are doing so good with the follow-up on the flight advice lately.
Updates are awesome.
It's so much better.
Mm-hmm. That was super cool. I remember we met Rob one of the happy hours.
I do remember that. We were at
Trevor's,
but the one in the old one, the one in Old Town.
Old Town, yeah.
South Scottsdale. That's right. I was trying to remember where we met him. I remember meeting him. I just don't remember where.
Because he was flying like law enforcement for the national parks or something in DC. It was a really interesting job.
He like flew through P-51 all the time and like
super interesting.
Yeah, was it the parks?
I think so. You'll have to let us know, Rob. I think
that was
that's
awesome. Cool.
That's really
good.
Cool. Congrats.
Congratulations.
That's right.
What a good move. Sometimes,
Rob, you've learned your most important lesson in the airlines. It's all about timing.
Timing and luck. Congratulations.
Right place, right time.
Your luck was well timed.
That's right. Next one says, "Hey fellas, I wrote you a review on Apple Podcast titled "The Best and Probably Only Podcast Book Club." I love the show. You guys have had me laughing through my commute since early 2020. I like the new split up format. Seems like a good balance between having content every week and you guys living your lives. I do have a suggestion, though. You should combine the old Furlough Flute with Gavin's version. Start with the old one and have it end with Gavin's. Could be a real masterpiece. Keep up the great work." And that's from
I've
Steve.
read that, and I was like, that is, Steve, that is a great idea.
That is.
Dylan, have you started on this yet?
I think I could do it myself.
Oh, come on. I was hoping you were going to have this fully edited for this.
No, I haven't. I need to really dive into the I got to get the software on my new computer here. It reminds me of I'm trying to think if there's like a TikTok where like the flute music, it starts off as the Titanic music and then maybe it like goes into like a crappy flute version of it. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't think
Titanic something. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, that's where
we're.
Who's
a big TikTok guy? Is Ted?
Oh yeah, huge.
He's always sending us TikToks. It's like, what is he?
Yeah,
middle school.
He likes to watch TikToks about cats. Not what you'd expect.
I think he's in Doha again right now. His guy's always in Doha.
He knows what he likes. He's working on efficiencies. He's trying to find efficiencies. He's trying to figure out how to shave off the amount of effort he's putting in even lower somehow.
I know. I wonder what he's doing. I'm looking
making
at him
the
right
bed.
Now. Oh,
he's making the sheets or doing the walk around.
He's not at the pool. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I could tell that.
I love it. What's next?
All right, Dylan and Max. Hey guys, first off, I love the show and really enjoy the conversations you guys have. I'm a 420-hour commercial pilot, just about to head to training for my first commercial pilot job at Southern Airways Express. I have some questions about pilot uniforms. For context, I'm a retired Army guy, though not from an aviation background. As a former military guy, I'm very picky about uniforms, and I like to make sure things look right and fit well. I ordered some shirts from Jetseam to try on, and they fit pretty well, except they are quite close-fitting on my arms. Not intending to brag here. I'm not super fit dude anymore. Definitely can stand to lose a few pounds. The point is it acceptable/appropriate for pilot short sleeve shirts to be tight on the arms? As I said, looks good elsewhere, just a little tight on the arms. I would love to hear your professional opinion on the topic. Is slightly more relaxed a better option for pilots? I realize this is kind of a weird question, but I feel like you guys probably have an opinion on pilot uniforms. Thanks for your time, and I look forward to your next podcast. Respectfully, Ian. Well, Ian, first off, I'm glad to hear you're not asking about long sleeve pilot shirts.
Yeah.
But I don't know, a little tight on the guns. I think if I've seen pilots that have the shirts are tight on their arms. It's usually because their arms are big. Like,
yeah. I feel like if it's tight, it depends on your bicep definition, right?
well, full tricep too, Dylan.
Yeah.
Don't forget about the backside.
That's right. But you gotta. I think there needs to be a little. The guns have to be shown a little bit. If it looks like just a little sausage popping out, then that's probably a problem. Right?
Yeah, I think, and you know what else you could always do too, is if you just really like the shirt and you already paid for them, go find an alterations place and just cut a little slit in it and then have them hem it and give you a little relief on the guns. But
is it comfortable? Like, I mean, you do most airplanes. You are reaching up like on the overhead panel and moving your arms a fair amount in the cockpit. So.
It's true. It might be time to get the paper tiger out and just do a quick flow.
Yeah, I just see, like, is that going to...
Just at home.
And then, here's another question for you. Let's see. Oh, this person says they only have 400 hours. They may not be in, like, a professional cockpit yet. Oh, Southern Airways.
Southern
Express.
Airways. So,
yeah.
It's King Air. They can fly King Airs and caravans and stuff, right?
So, have you done a summer in this pilot uniform shirt? How much do you sweat? Do you have an APU? Could be some questions to think about. Probably no APU, right? So the airplane's going to be pretty hot. That tighter shirt, maybe that is going to show more sweat. I don't know.
I'm going to say I don't think my shirts are that tight on my arms.
Yeah.
Are they?
Okay, well, let me ask you this.
Not like super tight. Like
let's pivot here. What would you say are the percentage of dudes that are wearing, and I do mean dudes, wearing undershirts?
Oh, 99%?
Yeah. So that would be another thing to think about there is almost everyone I know wears an undershirt under that pilot shirt. So if the sleeve is already tight, you might want to think about that. So I'm going to say at my time at the airlines, guys were wearing pilot shirts for more than one day, I would say, for the most part. So... You're usually like packing on a 4-day trip. You're maybe packing 2 shirts. Maybe. Some guys would even do 1. And most guys are cycling out the undershirt. So if you got a real tight shirt and you're sweating, you're gonna have to carry a ton of shirts. So that's my professional opinion. Make sure there's room for the undershirt. That's. Any thoughts? I mean,
I think we've covered it.
Yeah,
I think we got that.
Good. I can't wait for the 50,000 emails we're going to get on this not dumb, but seemingly innocent question. Good email. Thank you, Ian. Good luck. Keep us posted. That's another one we need to follow up on.
Send us a photo, please.
Yeah.
So we will send out an Instagram poll. We can really get to the bottom of this.
Okay. Just the arm profile. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
All right. Go ahead.
Hello, guys. First off, I'd like to say I love your podcast. It's great in many ways. I've enjoyed many episodes in the past 2 years I've been listening, but I must say I was disappointed in your latest episode on AI. One thing I like about your podcast is you make great effort to be factual and present different sources from people inside the industry that know what they are talking about. Love the TED episodes. I found your AI episode was straying off this path quite significantly. I feel like it was just the AI hype train whizzing by with all the buzzwords, promises, and it'll happen in 12 to 18 months. Believe me. There was almost nothing to support any of the claims made by the consultant, just pure speculation, and I would even say wild speculation at this stage. I'm not saying there haven't been advances in AI, because there definitely have been, but there have been many, many problems with them inventing stuff from midair, spreading false information, and so on. As you know, the aviation sector cannot afford these downsides because in order to produce safety, we need functional and reliable tools that we can demonstrate and prove as such. This is very different to what AI is producing today. I'm not saying that it won't happen, but I'm saying that I will believe it when I see it. Right now, I don't think it is realistic seeing anything of the sort. I'll be listening, enjoying your upcoming episodes. Keep up the great work, and that's from Antoine.
I mean, I kind of agree with them because, I'm certainly not an expert on the subject, but it's one of those things. It's advancing, and it's there's not a lot. I don't know. It's kind of a spitballing conversation, right?
It is that, and that's really, I think, I agree with Antoine's point that we weren't like, well, here's the software that's gonna take it over. We don't have that to point to. It is more of a theoretical discussion.
Well, we do. Unfortunately, we signed an NDA, so we can't talk about it.
Yeah,
That's the bad part.
That's true. Yeah, there are things coming. And so maybe we should have done a better job of articulating that there are things coming. Yeah, we don't know exactly what it's going to look like. But it is to me, it's the next frontier, like we talked about.
Well, essentially, like he says, he goes, I don't disagree that things are coming, which is what we said, and then we basically were speculating on places where we think that it fits in. Who knows if we're right at all or totally wrong on all accounts, but. Only time will tell.
if you watched what OpenAI and Google just released last week,
that's insane.
I'll give you a really interesting example. So, have you used the chat function on the ChatGPT app yet, where you can just talk to it?
Yeah.
So, my kids, we had a power outage at our house the other day. I was putting the kids to bed the other night, and their little clock, alarm clock thing in their bedroom wasn't set correctly because the power was out. So I said, hey, can you reset it? And I remember being like, this is such a pain in the butt to reset this because the buttons don't make sense. It's not obvious how to set the time. And so I pulled out the ChatGPT, turned the little speaker button on to talk to it. And I'm like, hey, I need to figure out how to set the time on this clock. And he's like, oh, okay, no problem. He goes, tell you what, flip the thing over and tell me if you can see a model number. And I'm like, yeah, it's an iHome, and he goes, okay, yep. Okay, yeah, I'm reading the instructions. Here's what you need to do. You push this, and then you do that. It was like I was having a conversation with a person.
Is that your new best friend?
I mean, it's you, and then it's AI right below. But only because you're so good at ground reference maneuvers.
Hey.
But it's not like you're talking to a robot. It was like you were talking to a person on tech support.
Did it have an Indian accent?
No, it was. You could change the accent. You could if you wanted, because there's 10 voices you could pick.
My name is Jim.
Yeah, I mean,
tech support.
So it's Antoine. You're not wrong. We are kind of banging the drums on something that we can't point to exactly.
Why don't you ask ChatGPT what it thinks about Antoine's review?
Right, but here is the point that I think Antoine. I think we have to differentiate between two things. One is the aviation application for pilots is one thing. And there's a lot of risk there, right? Because, if it gets the NOTAMs wrong or gets the weather wrong, that's a big problem if it's hallucinating information and that kind of stuff. So that's tons of valid points there. The other side is the business side, which is not as critical from a safety standpoint. And that is where I think all of the airlines and larger operators are going to see the gains from more quickly, right? We don't need 4 HR people anymore. We need 1. We don't need 5 people taking reservations now. We need 1. We don't need, so a lot of that stuff where the stakes, I don't know the right way to say this maybe, but it's not directly controlling airplanes in the sky, but it's optimizing.
We're basically restating what we talked about in the episode.
Yeah, that's the point. That's coming for sure.
Noted.
Compliment. So
thank you.
Yeah, I got on a rant. I'm sorry.
He gets carried away with this AI stuff, guys.
Yeah,
people, I'm very sorry about this, folks. He gets real worked up.
I don't know what to say.
This
all right.
Ground reference.
Good
go
email,
ahead.
Antoine. Got me all worked up. I liked it.
He's all spooled up now.
Yep.
right.
Anything else for the mailbag if you want to get involved in the conversation? Maybe don't send any more AI emails. My blood pressure's going up too high. info@215podcast.com is the email address if you want to jump into the conversation on anything we're talking about. Love to hear the feedback. Let's take a quick break, Max, to talk about one of our dear sponsors, Harvey Watt. Longtime sponsors. Harvey Watt is, of course, the largest provider of loss of medical insurance to pilots around the globe. You've heard the name on this show for years. They've been with us since the beginning. It's time for you to join them if you haven't already. And even if you've got coverage from your airline, probably going to need to supplement it. Give them a call. Visit their website, harveywatt.com. Protect that medical. All right. You want to read this flight advice?
Sure. Gents, absolutely love the podcast. It is one of the few that I make sure I get every week when new episodes come back. Please bring someone back with Joel's amazingly annoying yet smooth voice. It's like Ace of Base. You have to hate yet love it at the same time. Need some flight advice, please, regarding a potential career change, which might be a little different than the normal request you get, but maybe you'll find it interesting. I'm 44 years old, currently senior level supply chain manager for a large offshore drilling company. Currently making about $250,000 a year with incentives and do not hate my job, but I've dreamed about being a commercial pilot since I was 18. I have what most would consider the perfect job. Good salary, good benefits, working from home 3/4 of the time, but it's not my dream. I'm currently a freelance instructor working on my instrument add-on. Love teaching students and currently flying about 40 to 50 hours a month on top of my main job. I have about 500 hours now, and in theory would be at the magical 1,500 mark within 12 to 18 months. I don't mind taking a pay cut for a couple years, but also realizing we would be taking over a 50% pay cut for the first couple of years, which I can live with. However, I need to get my income back to that $200K threshold within a few years. Secondly, I really like being home most of the time without extended trips. I love the thought of flying fractional. The normal rotation of 7 on, 7 off, etc. wouldn't work for me right now. So Part 91 corporate? Question mark. There are several regional carriers at base here in Houston. That leads me to my question. What is the best path for me to get closer to what I am making now, but fulfilling that dream? I've seriously considered a regional. As a captain, I could get pretty close to what I'm making now, maybe even have limited nights on the road. Talking to a friend at SkyWest, he's only gone single-digit nights per month, with many return trips back home the same day. Of course, I would love to land the holy grail of jobs like Max has at Southwest, but I don't know whether it fits my life right now. Really, any flying job would be the dream. Appreciate any and all advice. Dreaming in Houston, CJM.
All right, Max. So the problem with this one is the money, right? That's what sticks out to me.
Well, he's got a good job, dude. And then it
works from here's my take. And this came as an email, not as a flight. So it didn't come from the flight advice form. So we don't have all the information that we asked. I mean, I would say I'm going to make some assumptions. This person has a family and children.
Yeah. And it's mid 40s or 50 or
mid 44, he said. Yeah. So you work from home 3/4 of the time. You're making that money. Yeah. You might be able to get to 200 in the next 5 years, maybe, but we don't know what's going to happen. You can't bank on that. There's no way if you've got.
It's very risky to make a career change
risk
at this point, given your current situation.
If the money is the important factor,
but I think you need to wrap your head around keeping your current job.
Yeah,
and there are different ways to get this out of your system, or we had a friend of ours that, went to college to be a professional pilot and everything, and then kind of went down a little bit different path and something completely unrelated, but still had the itch. And he ended up, flying contract on a corporate jet, Part 91, and did that for a while, and then ended up stopping doing that. And so I think the fact that you figured out how to fly while maintaining your current job, that's 3/4 of the battle right there, right?
100%.
And then I think you just stay doing that because you're already working flying. You're flying 40 to 50 hours a month. That's pretty good.
It's insane.
And so I think what would be cool, what I would do if I were in this situation is transition from that, flying students in 172s or trainers to then flying with people in TBMs and
yes,
more. But the thing is that it's easy for us to say, like, we've already flown, did the other stuff. So I don't know that he probably wants to do, more line flying on bigger jets and things like that. So, but I think that that's still within the realm possibility to be an independent contractor. Because if you have time to fly 40 to 50 hours a month, you definitely are going to be figuring out how to have time to do contract trips.
Yeah.
And that comes down to networking.
Yeah, exactly. To me, this is exactly what you said, Max. I would be focusing on turboprop airplanes, networking with those people, and finding a way to do flying on the side in those, and keep your main job for now. And maybe you can set yourself a goal. This is actually what I would do. I would set an appointment with our boy Tim Pope. And I would talk to him and be like, this is what I want to do. This is the job I have now. This is the income I have now. Help me create a 5, 10, or 15-year plan where I am saving and getting myself in the right spot to where I can make that transition some point. So maybe you work that job for another 10 years while you're flying turboprops and doing other things, and then you can make that switch at some point in the future if you really want to fly full-time professionally all the way. But I think you kind of have to chunk this out a little bit. I think the risk is so high to go if you've got to make a certain amount of money to cover your expenses.
There are certainly jobs out there that don't take enough time where you can have another job. Like, and it sounds like your job, the job you have currently would fit into that profile really
Correct.
well. So I think you need to focus on not figuring out how you can make this transition to a full-time pilot. Figure out how you can do that in addition to your current job, because the current gig is too good. And if you can have that flexibility in aviation and be able to kind of do what you want versus what you have to do all the time, that gives you a lot of flexibility to really have a good quality of life and things like that. And maybe you won't progress as quickly as if you just Hail Married it into aviation, but it sounds like you really have kind of figured it out already, and I would just keep going down that path and continuing to progress. And
the other thing is,
like, doesn't sound like he is dying to fly at the airlines or whatever. I mean, that's a little bit more, but there's a lot of different levels of commitment in the corporate world versus all or nothing, sort of like how the airlines is.
Yeah. The other thing is too, all flying jobs are super fun. When you're flying full time, especially at a busy flying job, it's super fun for a little while, but then part of the joy of flying kind of goes away when that's your job and you're doing it all the time. And so you may love flying now because you're kind of doing it part-time, and just recognize that may potentially, go listen to some interviews with Ted. There's some other people, that are doing it. And so part of that,
I feel like this guy's more passionate about flying airplanes than Ted ever was, though.
I agree. But yeah, I think we both agree. If you could find a way to keep your current job and work something in, I think that niche of the turboprops, where a lot of people are passing that over because they're, going right from flight instructing to the airlines, there's a big need there for folks. So.
Or you could just go get a job at like Ameriflight, where you get up early in the morning, you go fly the morning cargo run to a couple spots, and then you sit somewhere all day. And then you could just grind at your other job. Yeah. And then in the evening, bounce back a couple things. I think that kind of flying sounds super fun, and I keep saying I'm going to do it, and I am going to do it. I'm going to go jump seat on like the Beech 99 cargo carrier.
Oh, yeah.
And just... like that looks like, because those guys, they can blast around VFR and stuff, and just it's
Beech 99 just ripping around.
Yeah,
those were my funnest job. My funnest job was flying King Air VFR. That was like so fun. So yeah, that's another great point. Good stuff.
All right, let us know what happens.
Yeah,
I'm interested.
Let us know. Okay, that's going to do it for flight advice. If you need some flight advice, you can visit our website, 215podcast.com. There's an anonymous form. My wife was busy updating our website over the weekend, and so it's much easier to find the form now. You can click on it, fill out your issue, and then fill out any additional information you feel comfortable sharing, such as your age, location, family status, all that kind of stuff. Helps us out quite a bit. And then I guess, do we need to have her add a checkbox for will you be willing to do the live phone call edition?
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, it'd be good. And then, Max, I don't know if you saw our boy James O'Neill put a very controversial post on LinkedIn.
No.
a couple of days ago about he said don't ask pilots for advice because everybody's giving you advice from their perspective, and it may not be the perspective you need to hear. And we'll
Hasn't
share
he
that
built an
post.
entire business around exactly that, though?
Well, sort of.
I guess
and
he
that's
doesn't
kind
really
of his
give
point.
advice, is what he says. He, asks questions to make you think about it.
I mean, and at the end of the day, maybe we should change the name of flight advice, because are we really giving advice? You have always made a great point in saying, listen, we can't, at the end of the day, we cannot give you advice because, every situation is so different. But what we can offer you are some things to think about that you may not have thought about already, because we have been through some things.
Listen, potato, dude.
Perspective, yeah. Very controversial. Anyways.
It is what it is.
That's right. Okay, that is going to do it, I think. Max, you need to get to the pool.
I do. She's literally texting me photos.
Yeah. What's the first cocktail on the menu tonight?
I don't know. Depends. Whatever she made me. She made me something.
Good.
Just waiting out there next to a ledge lounger in the pool, literally, while I'm here looking at your mug and some. It's actually a really nice hotel room. Is that a suite you have?
It is. Thank you. Thank you for recognizing. I'm a gold member at Hilton Properties, and so I'm recognized. And,
is there a kitchenette in there, perhaps?
You know what? I got to tell you, last thing, I'm mostly a Marriott guy, as most corporate guys are, but Hilton has Marriott absolutely smoked when it comes to the app. You don't talk to anybody anymore. You do the check-in, you get the digital key, you walk straight to your room. Plus, the other thing is you pick your room. It gives you a floor plan of the whole hotel.
What?
And it just shows you all the rooms that are available on every floor that you can have.
I know. This whole checking in business with your credit card.
Ridiculous.
It's asinine.
Love
Can
Marriott.
AI fix this?
Yeah. Love
And
Marriott.
the whole thing with
but
Marriott when they branded it as Bonvoy, that just irritates the hell out of me. That's the dumbest thing ever. Like, I want to find the marketing person that came up with such a stupid idea. Bonvoy. What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Have you ever been to a
Voyage?
Delta? Marriott Delta?
Yeah.
Delta hotels?
Yeah,
by Marriott?
a lot in Canada. I stayed at some in Canada, yeah.
Oh. I
good
just stayed at the first one last night. It's actually quite nice.
Yeah, some of them are good. And listen, at the end of the day, like, Marriott's huge advantage is they've got, a significant amount of more properties. So when you get more points, you have more choices, et cetera. But this app thing with the check-in and you just go straight there, especially on a long day.
Yeah, who wants to deal with that?
Why would you need to check in anymore? And you can share the key with up to 4 people.
The car rental places figured this out like 10 years ago.
I know. Just walk to the thing.
Like,
and then
you
it's super cool to pick your room. You look at the floor plan. You're like, oh, this one looks good. Ooh,
that
a
is
corner
kind of
room.
cool.
Yeah.
Like, why would they
It's
not?
really cool.
But what about,
Yeah.
do they offer you an upgrade then in the app?
Well, yeah, in the app, it shows like the rooms. Then it's like, oh, you want this one? It's, $20 a night more. It's genius.
It's perfect.
Yeah. I'm kind of rethinking my allegiances.
Ooh.
I don't know what to say.
I think if you call Hilton, maybe you can work a deal, where they'll like.
This episode brought to you by Hilton.
Yeah, maybe we're getting our new sponsor.
Official 21.5
That'd be
podcast.
funny.
Yeah. Use
You're
the
out
rate code.
on Bonvoy, in on Hilton.
Wow. That we like the canopies. Have you ever stayed at those? Those are cool.
No. Who's that by?
Hilton. It's good.
Canopies?
Yeah.
But do you have
like
a
there's a canopy over the bed.
literally?
Yeah.
Is this
That's the
only in
thing.
places with a lot of mosquitoes?
It's sort of, how we always said, like, if you're going somewhere and you haven't been before and you want to, like, stay in the hot zone, you look for the Moxie, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's like the canopy's kind of the Moxie. So as you locate the canopy, then you're going to be in the
The canopy. That's a weird name. That's not what I picture when you say the canopy. What I picture is like a hammock between two big trees with a lot of foliage, like like the forest canopy.
The trees are the
Yeah,
canopy.
like a real
That's
rustic
interesting.
version.
Yeah, I think that's at the Hilton Bora Bora. Okay. Let's get you to the pool. Thanks to everyone that contributed, listeners who wrote reviews, sent in emails, flight advisors, our sponsors, Timothy P. Pope, Advanced Aircrew Academy, Harvey Watt, Veris Jet Sales, the Air Comp Calculator, lots more in the pipeline. Excited for the next episode, which will be coming out weekly. Are we taking a summer vacation at all, Max? We might have to. We might have to take a little
Obviously.
summer break, right? Yeah, we got a lot of plans. So
I'll tell you what, I'm not going to be sitting around Phoenix all summer. So,
that's right.
yes.
That's right. Okay. Well, while you're planning your 5-way summer vacation trade, remember.
It's already done, baby.
Well, next time you need to remember flexibility is the key to 5-way summer vacation trades.
There we go. That sums it up. See you
All
next
right,
time.
see you guys.
The statements made in this show are our own opinions and do not reflect, nor were they under any direction from any of our employers.